Hi classmates, Rachel here. For today's book discussion, I chose And Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell. It's about two penguins who live in the Central Park Zoo. When mating season comes around, they realize that the girls aren't attracted to them and they're not attracted to the girls. So two of the penguins, Silo and Roy, they hang out all the time together and they do everything together. So when mating season comes around, they're just hanging out. And eventually the penguins start laying their eggs and making their nests, and Roy and Silo do the same thing. When they finally have their eggs, though, Roy and Silo realize that they're not able to do that, and then the babies come along, and they don't understand why they can't have babies, because they love one another. So eventually this zookeeper, Mr. Gramsci, he brings them an egg from another penguin couple that needed to be cared for, and Roy and Silo raise the egg as if it was their own, and they finally have their baby, and they're very happy, and they take care of him just like any of the other penguin families. And at the end of the book it says, At night the three penguins return to their nests. There they snuggle together, and like all the other penguins in the penguin house and all the other animals in the zoo and all the families in the big city around them, they went to sleep. So throughout the book, Roy and Silo do everything like all the other penguins, except they're both boys. And the whole book is pretty much that they do the same thing that other families, animals, or humans do. They just do it as two boys. But they're still the same, and they live the same lives. One of the funny, or not funny, but I liked how it put it, was their baby Tango, which they named because it takes two to make a tango. So they named the baby Tango. He's the first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies, is what it says. Tango is the very first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies. I thought that was sweet. So, the main reason I believe this book was challenged is because it's about homosexuality and a gay couple having a family, which more and more students are starting to experience nowadays. So, regardless of if this is something that happens for them at home and in their everyday life or not, I think this is a wonderful book because it's something that people need to become more adjusted and accustomed to, because it is something that's real in our society now. And I think this book was challenged because people disagree with those beliefs about homosexuality and a man or a girl being together. But this book makes a really good point that their families are just the same and they still have a love for one another, and if they have a child, for their child too. So regarding the quote and selection and censorship, selection is choosing books for a collection or for a library or classroom based on certain criteria. So if you're looking for realistic fiction books, you would be looking under those criteria. Or for a whole library collection, one that is going to fill all of the genres and have a wholesome collection. Whereas censorship is leaving out parts or certain books that whoever is choosing doesn't agree with that concept or theme that the book is about. So like a librarian might censor her library by books about homosexuality, or a classroom teacher, for example. So if they don't like that content or they disagree with whatever belief or value that is themed in that book, then they can censor it and not make it available to the audiences who are going to be using those things. I do agree that things have to be excluded, but it's different when you censor them, because if you're excluding things due to censorship because you disagree with what the content of that book is, then that's censorship. Whereas if you have to exclude something because it doesn't suit the collection or it doesn't fit in with the rest of the books in the collection, for example, then that's different. But to censor something is wrongfully taking away the opportunity for a child or for whoever the audience or user is to gain something from that content. So, on to the next question. I personally believe that choosing to exclude a book or to censor a book is unethical, regardless of your school or parents' beliefs about it, because it's wrong to hide that information from a child when it's most likely, especially since it's going to be something that they'll probably learn at another point, anyways. I think children have a tendency to be very open minded, and they are blossoming at that age. I think it's wrong for us to hide information from them just because of our own fear of our beliefs about it and what other people believe. Um, Part, I think, of being a teacher and a good teacher at that is raising children to be open-minded and civil and able to make their own decisions about the way they feel and what they feel is right. And by excluding or censoring books in your classroom and content that you teach them, you are taking away that opportunity for them to grow and understand that and be able to do that as they get older. And although parents should have some say in what content the student learns, especially in terms of books and things like homosexuality and death or abuse or more controversial subjects like that, I think they still deserve to be exposed to it because it's going to help them grow as people and it makes them empathetic to what other people in the world go through. And by not allowing them that, then it's just degressing their growth. And it's just wrong to hide that from them, especially a wonderful book like this, because I mean, this is obviously so great for young children, just through the images and the way it's written and the literary terms that are used throughout and the pictures. So regardless of the content, and Tango Makes Three is still a great book to teach. We shouldn't take it out of our classrooms just because it's about homosexuality. Still about families and love. All right. I hope you enjoyed my book discussion. Have a good day.